name's Janie, I'm a mother of one and our family's moving to Norway. Today I am taking you through the legal nitty-gritty stuff of how we're moving to Norway. I also have some big news to share with you, so stay tuned and let's get to it. Before we start, if you don't want to miss out on any of the content I'll be posting, anything from relocation, immigration to settling in Norway, anything that our family encounters on the journey, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, if you like or don't what you hear in these videos, thumbs up or thumbs down will be equally awesome. Another thing I need to clear with you is that I am not an immigration expert. Everything I share with you today is stuff I have researched myself, once, twice, 3 times, however many times it took until I was sure. I have consulted governmental websites, assistance phone lines, even accountants. So take it as a pointer, take it as a platform to step from on your own search of how to move to Norway, but don't take it as an advice to your particular case, because I don't know your particular case, okay? Brilliant. So with that out of the way, get ready, because the information freight train is coming. This video, I'll split it into 4 parts. My partner, our child, the big news, and my case. All the information I'll share with you today comes from the UDI website, or the UK governmental website. I have put all the links below in the description box, grouped them by each permit, so hopefully it's clear for you to follow what you need to follow. Feel free to refer to those. Let's get to it. So my partner, as you know, has a job in Norway, so he'll be applying for a work permit to get his residence permit. Now UDI split that into 2 categories, a skilled worker and a seasonal worker. A skilled worker is someone who has a higher or vocational education. A seasonal worker is somebody who comes to Norway at a particular time of year to help in a specific industry, like agriculture, forestry, tourism, some such. They then split it into further subcategories. They have really gone out to town with this, so bear with me. Those subcategories for skilled worker are working for a Norwegian company, international company, being offshore, or being an athlete, and many more. So there is likely going to be something for you there as well. So specifically with my partner, he will be going as a skilled worker working for a Norwegian company, which is pretty simple. And if you've ever applied for any visa or permit, you know how much work or how much paperwork is needed. So you know what you're getting yourself into in general. If you haven't and this is your first time, please don't get discouraged. It can be overwhelming at times, but you just have to do it once in a while. But for the sake of this video, I've put up a list of what my partner in particular has to provide, or what's needed for the skilled worker permit for a Norwegian company. So he has to pay a fee of 6,300 Norwegian kroner, right? These things don't come for free, you gotta pay. He then has to provide a proof of his education. He has to also prove the working relationship with the company, so his contract. And that contract has further requirements, such as it has to be for at least 80% full time. He has to have the qualification for that particular position, meaning he cannot apply for a permit for a doctor because he is not a doctor. He also has to have that offer from one Norwegian employer. It has to be a concrete offer, signed contract ideally. And this last one I feel is more directed at the employer themselves, which is quite nice, and we'll see if it's actually true. But it says that the working conditions cannot be poorer than it's normal in Norway. And for my partner, that is quite reassuring, given his background, but we'll see how that works. You know, they always say something, but the reality may be different. But again, I'll update you on this once we're there, once we started, if they really hold this up. So the residence permit comes with its own rights and obligations. One of those rights is that anybody who is my partner's family can move into Norway and live with him. And I'll touch upon that in a little bit when I talk about our child's visa. One of the obligations though is that as soon as he changes a position, he has to let UDI know and he has to re-register. As well as if he loses his job, he has to let the police know. A little drawback of this permit, and he can't really get away from it, is that he cannot start working in Norway until he has that permit, unless he gets a notification of early employment from the police in Norway. So that's a tiny drawback from that. So the next one, our child. So you may remember from a previous video, our complex situation is that our child has 3 nationalities. She will be moving to Norway as Czech to make it easier for her to enter the country without having to have any visa or any permits right off the bat. However, she will be moving in on a family immigration visa as my partner's dependent. I'll touch upon that in a few moments of why we've made that decision. Here, let me tell you about the family immigration visa. So the family immigration visa has, again, multiple categories, but the one we've selected for her is the child under the age of 18 whose both parents live in Norway. And that drastically simplifies her application process. She essentially only needs to provide proof of identity. She doesn't need any consent form from either of us because we both will be living in Norway, and there are more requirements for her reference person than for her. The reference person being my partner, the reference person being whose dependent she's going to be. And so my partner has to prove that he has a specific income. It's 3,000, no it's not, it's 300,988 Norwegian krone. He's going to be earning well above that. I am just below that level, so that's why she can't be my dependent right off the bat. My partner also has a stable job for the foreseeable future, which again helps the case. So based on that, it just makes sense for her to go as his dependent rather than mine. There is a tiny drawback to her permit as well, and that's her visa is only ever going to be long as my partner's visa is long. So if he gets his permit for 12 months, our child's permit or visa is also going to be only for 12 months. My partner then has to reapply, so does my daughter. But we cannot see why that wouldn't work. As long as my partner holds a job, there isn't any legal grounds essentially for UDI to refuse an application. And if there is, then we'll deal with it when it comes. But that's her. Now, the big news. So, in our complex situation video, you probably remember that I said that in December 2022, my employer told me that as of April, I may not have a job. But I will. Yay! That was a massive relief. Apparently, our client has decided to just change the contract they had with us, but I will also be moving into a slightly different role within the company, meaning that massively narrows down my options of how I will be moving to Norway, and it just puts my mind at ease. I mean, I get to keep a job and move to Norway with funds. So let me actually tell you about how I'm moving to Norway. So as you know, I have 2 nationalities. I'm British and Czech, but to Norway I'll be moving as Czech. Again, it's going to be easier for me to enter the country under the EU and EEA regulations. Now, moving as Czech or an EU national means you can move long term under, again, many categories. Some of them being working for a Norwegian employer, EU-based company, as a student, or even on your own funds. And so I will be going on my own funds because ever since UK made the glorious decision of leaving the EU, they no longer qualify as an EU-based company. Yay! So on my own funds, there are certain drawbacks and requirements. One of the drawbacks being that I will not have access to state-funded healthcare, which means that I have to have a private health insurance that covers all the costs. no matter what, which is not ideal when it comes to funds. But here's one of the many places where I've spoken to UDI and the UK government and even the accountants to find a way around it, and there is a way. So one of the ways to manage this is that I will become a non-resident in UK, meaning I'll stop paying taxes in UK and start paying taxes in Norway. This is also governed by the double taxation agreement between UK and Norway. And I will actually be covering a lot more about taxes and all of that in a different video. But this is the situation. As soon as I start paying taxes in Norway, I will have access to state-funded healthcare because that's going to be covered within those taxes, which is great. Also, moving to Norway, they have a rule for people on their own funds who move single to earn a certain amount. Now let me check that amount again because it is a large number and I don't remember it off the top of my head. That number is 158,622 Norwegian krone, which I'm going to be earning well above. And even though I am moving as part of a family, I will take that as a level to sort of guide myself on because you never know, they might ask for it. Another requirement as a person on my own funds is that I have to prove that I have those funds with, let's say, a bank statement showing the total sum for the whole stay, or a bank statement showing a regular deposit of funds, like a wage, into my bank account, or if I was lucky enough and I was already a pensioner, to prove that I am receiving pension. But that is pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. Tiny little drawbacks with the state-funded healthcare and the private health insurance. On the plus side, I can start working as soon as I land in Norway, unlike my partner who has to wait. So that is good. Also, I can change my status as an EU national almost in any way without having to let the UDI know, unless I become a job seeker. If I become a job seeker, then I have to let the police know, but that's absolutely fine. But that's about it. So to summarize, my partner is going as a skilled worker working for a Norwegian employer. So he's getting a work permit. Our child is going as my partner's dependent on a family immigration visa. Me, I'm going as an EU national under the EU EEA regulations, having my own funds. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I have put all the links in the description box below so that you can check them out. They're grouped by each permit, so hopefully that helps. Otherwise, I hope you found this useful. If you did, amazing. If not, and you still have any questions, pop them in the description box below. I'll have a look. If I can, I'll put you in the right direction. But again, please do your research. I am not an immigration expert. So don't treat me as one. I am just somebody who's done the research, and I'm happy to help you and point you in a direction that may help. Otherwise, if you don't want to miss out on any of the future content, like top 5 decision-making processes we've done to decide that we will go to Norway and we nearly decided not to, or finding a relocation company and a cost breakdown, because this stuff costs money and you want to check that out before you make that decision, trust me. Then subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. Also, if you like what you heard or you didn't, thumbs up or thumbs down, they're both equally cool. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next one.